All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about a topic today, and I've got the one, the only. Should I call you Wizard Haas, or is it just Matt Haas today?
Matt Haas will do fine. Wizard of Haas is my other channel.
The
So
Wizard, the
we're all
Wizard of
good
Oz.
here.
That's it. Appreciate you for being here, sir. Technologist Forum. You guys know how we do. Every Thursday we have a enlightening conversation. Creators talking about creative aspects for business, solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, things of that nature. And I started off and I said today maybe you know a different kind of conversation because we are going to talk data security. We're going to talk data security essentials, everything from backup, from recovery, cloud storage, best practices. And I've got a poll out on my channel already. Just asking a generic question. I'm not going to look down on anybody, but is the poll question is: do you have a data security policy in place? You'll answer it anonymous. If you say no, Matt's not going to come after you. We're not going to do anything negative to you. But that's kind of the question, right? So Matt, let's start here again. Let's keep the focus of the conversation kind of geared towards creators, because again, you and I are, like
Mhm.
as I was saying before we went live, are in that enterprise IT world. We talk about ransomware a lot. We talk about data sovereignty. We talk about governance. We talk about that stuff a lot already. But as it relates to people that do the thing that we do, I think this matters. It's not a sexy conversation, but it's a necessary conversation. So when I say data security as it relates to digital creators and content entrepreneurs, what does that mean for you?
Well, it means to thwart unauthorized access
Hmm,
and ensure your data doesn't get corrupted or stolen. Like that's the definition. Like that's if you go to the dictionary,
period.
that's what you'll hear. But so yeah, unauthorized access. James and I are against it. We don't like that.
Truth. Truth.
Authorized access only.
All right.
That's what it means.
Unauthorized. So, all right. So let's go down this path. Unauthorized access, data security. We want to talk about creators, and we're kind of from a definition perspective. What do you think is the biggest misconception, though, that creators have when it comes to protecting their data? Right.
Oh,
We
there's
go online and we do the thing, but what's the biggest misconception you think creators may have?
there's lots of misconceptions. Misconceptions are, I'm too small for anyone to worry about me. No, no, no. Small creators are easier targets. If you're going after someone, do you want hard or do you want easy? You want easy. And even small creators have bank accounts linked to things and stuff like that. So that's a big misconception. Um, another misconception is, oh, well, the platform I post to, that has security built into it. They're a big company. Yeah, well, you know, platforms look after themselves and to some extent
Yeah.
the creators, but it's your job to lock down your stuff. So that could be a misconception as well.
Let's go into that. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that because I've been seeing, and I know you've been seeing them too lately, a lot of creators, probably more creators than normal, they're getting their channels on YouTube taken away.
Well,
Right? They're
that
getting either
sucks.
phished or they're getting claim that they're doing something excuse me, something that they shouldn't be doing from a content delivery perspective. Again, preparing for it's just like insurance. Preparing for what may happen. How can a digital creator prepare for should they ever get that email from YouTube/Google that says Matt Haas, Wizard of Haas has been taken down for inappropriate content? Well, I would hate for that to happen. I don't even want to say it, but okay, let's be hypothetical, if you don't mind.
Well, I mean, hopefully it doesn't get to that point. There's many things we could spend the show talking about what you can do to prevent that from
Mhm.
or to make it much more difficult for that to happen. I mean, if it does happen, you need to prove you are who you say you are to the platform, which means you have to get a hold of someone, which might be far more difficult if your account has been compromised, because then, as far as Google is concerned, or let's just use YouTube, for example, as far as YouTube is concerned, you are not the owner.
Yeah.
Like the owner is Joe Spammer, who now inserted themselves as the owner of your account. So, what you're in an uphill battle when you're trying to clear your name because the default is not to trust you, which is ironic because you are the
Isn't
legitimate
that
owner
crazy?
of the account. So, yeah, that you have to get a hold of someone and you have to be able to prove you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
That's broad strokes when disaster happens.
It's insurance. And you have to prepare, you have to think kind of outside of the realm of what is normal, just in case something like that happens. Because again, it's happened unfortunately to a lot of creators, and it's going to happen to more. But again, you need to prepare yourself. Listen, I see
And we
folks
know
in the
Rene Ritchie. We can reach out
yeah.
to him and,
Oh yeah.
hopefully he can help push things along
Well, see,
as the
we don't pick up the bat phone all the time, but when it's time to
yeah.
pick up the bat phone, we will reach out to the liaison.
And if you don't know him directly, this is it's a small world. You probably know someone who knows someone who knows who can get a hold of him.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's good stuff. See, okay, so
now,
what I was saying is I'm seeing a lot of folks in the comments and definitely looking forward to engaging with you. So put a Q in front of your comment and Matt and I will go down and address that. So Jaden's in the building. We see Enda's in the listen, Enda's been up all day and all night. It's tomorrow in Vietnam. And he's still online. So
happy
love seeing
Friday, and
already, right? Uh, Stewart's in the building. Good to see you, sir. Appreciate you as well. Um, Jane says, I'm doing Vlogmas this year as of live streams after your shows. Nice. She's doing vlog. Is it that time already? God, it
it's
is,
getting
isn't it?
there. It's getting there.
Crazy. All right.
So let's
So,
can we talk about what to do to help prevent a channel takeover from happening?
brother, that's where we were going. That's where it's almost like you looked at the notes, but okay.
I actually put notes on your notes. See,
Oh my
I'm a
gosh.
good co-host. At least I try and be.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Haas is in the building. Love that.
All
Love it.
right.
Let's go.
Two things you can do which will have the most impact. There's many things you can do,
Mm,
but two things will go very far. 2FA everywhere and lock down your mobile phone. The
okay.
mobile phone
Pause.
is an attack vector. Okay.
Pause. Because you're making an assumption. You're making an assumption that folks know what 2FA means. Please
All right.
elaborate on what two factor. Well, I'm not going to
Yeah.
say it.
Well,
You say
yeah.
it.
All right. Two-factor authentication. In other words, one factor is something you know, like a password,
Hmm.
and the other factor is something you have,
Yeah.
like a number that changes every minute, on like a like an
Authenticator app.
app, like authenticator app. Yeah, yeah. You could go three-factor, which is something you are, like a retina scan or something
Mm.
like that. But two-factor, two if you do not enable two-factor authentication,
Say it. Say it.
you will hear "I told you so." I'll put that lightly. I'll put it
Oh
lightly.
man.
There's no
I wanted that to
reason you
be
shouldn't.
like the clip from the show here, and I thought you were going to say something where I was going to have to bleep it out. But oh my gosh, Matt, you're
Okay.
too. No, it's okay. It's all right.
All right. All right. Yeah, no, two-factor. Now, this is not the end all be all.
Yep.
Two-factor is not the end all be all, but it will go the absolute farthest in really making it difficult for people to do bad things to you. So that was the first thing. And
Hmm.
everything should have two factor. If the service offers it, you should turn it on. It's not turned on by default. You've got to
Yep.
take the step to go do that. Do it on your web host, do it on your email newsletter service, do it on every social media you can, Facebook and um, YouTube, and well, your Google account, blah, 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 blah. Two factor everywhere. I don't want to hear it. If you're not doing two factor, step off.
Yeah.
That's
At the
that's
bare minimum, that right there is a requirement. All the
yeah.
other stuff that we're probably going to talk about is above and beyond. But like Florence is even saying, passkeys with two-factor authentication, having a secondary or tertiary means of logging into your critical accounts. So your financial stuff, your user identification stuff, your mail, your health records, all of that stuff. So this is even outside of the realm of creators, but at minimum, two-factor authentication is a requirement.
All right.
Hard
Now let's
stop.
talk about another seriously critical thing that people overlook,
Mm,
and that is locking down your cell phone, your mobile phone.
mm,
And what I mean is, you better turn on two factor on whichever service you're using. And also, never disclose which service you're using. T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T. Don't tell anyone that, because then the bad guy will know which one to target. It'll just make it harder for them to figure it out. Um, and uh, so, and if there is extra security that you can enable on your mobile phone service, do it. Not all of them offer it, but some allow you to ratchet up the approval process before someone will talk to you or administer your account or change a billing or something like that. Now, why is the cell phone necessary to lock down? Because if someone can convince your phone carrier that they are you, then they could take the SIM and program your phone into their own SIM. And so bad guy could go to your
yeah.
YouTube account, log in, and then say, I want to reset my password. And then the password gets sent to your phone, for the, what's the six digits I just sent to your
Right.
phone? Well, bad guy now has your phone. He doesn't have your physical phone, but he has the SIM card that's been reprogrammed as your phone. So the bad guy has your phone number in his hand on his bad guy phone, and your phone no longer works. It's a dead brick as far as connecting to the cell network
Man.
for phone calls and text messages. So you have to lock down your mobile phone, because it takes is someone to call, let's just say T-Mobile, and say, "Oh, my name's Matt Haas, and I forgot I need to change my account email address, and I forgot this and I forgot that," and next thing you know, they cry a river. The account just wants to shut you up, shut the bad guy up, and then next thing you know, then they get a SIM card, and so it's called SIM hacking. It's very common, and if you have someone's cell phone, if then you can go reset all passwords to everywhere. Oh, I know Matt is on Facebook. I'm going to reset Matt's, then boom, then then they go to Facebook and they say, this is my main account email. I'm going to delete that old one,
Yeah.
which is mine. And they're going to go Joe Spammer email. So you can easily take over that. So your cell phone. And also, speaking of that, Apple has a thing called, I wrote it down, stolen device protection. There's a
Yes.
setting
Yeah.
that you can turn on. You have to turn it on. And what that does is it makes it more difficult to change your Apple ID email address. It's very hard to do like account level stuff on your Apple ID. So you've got to turn on stolen device protection on your iPhone. You need to go to your mobile carrier. You need to definitely turn on 2FA on your mobile carrier. And if they have any advanced account protections you on your mobile carrier, you need to
Pay
turn
for it.
that on, and never tell anyone your carrier, because you're just making it easy, because they'll know who to attack.
All right.
And
Okay. No, no, hold on, hold on. Let's breathe, because you dropping gems left and right, and we want to make sure that folks. I don't know if he's focused, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the man over there with the focus mug. Come on, yeah. Somebody say something about that. Um, we want to make sure you guys are getting this information, leveraging this information, putting the thumbs up like Matt is showing right there, because this is again, it's an unsexy conversation, but it's a conversation that needs to happen, especially as we're going to lean in towards creators. And what's interesting, I've never had or heard that definition as extensively about the cell phone piece. I do it, I do it myself. Right, but I just do it again because I'm anal about security, and I've got all kind of measures in place. But I do that. But it's really good to hear you say about, again, consciously. I never thought about it. Again, you get that authentication code to your phone, and if someone is able to steal your phone identity, so to speak, they can actually impersonate you, and they can actually take over all of that information, and then they've got all of your credentials. So that's, man, there's a gem
Well,
right there if folks haven't taken advantage of that already.
I can take that up to 11
Come
because
on.
if your most valuable thing in the world is your cell phone
Yeah.
that you've unlocked. If someone grabs your phone and you've already logged into it, 45 seconds and they own you. There are
That
bad
long?
guys that memorize
Yeah.
exactly what you need to do to change the Apple ID owner. That's why you need the account protection turned on because it makes it harder. But if you don't have that on, in 45 seconds, they can change the Apple ID email address to Joe Spammer. They can turn off Find My iPhone. They can change the Face ID to Spammer's Face ID, lock you out of the iPhone, and then it's already logged in. Why don't they just open your banking app and then they'll FaceTime, they'll Face ID into your bank account? Did you turn Face ID on your bank account? Well, now Apple has removed your
Wow.
face and put the Joe Spammer's face on there. So seriously, within 45 seconds, your phone will not show up on iPhone, Find My iPhone, and they'll just run through all of your apps and start debiting out all of your money, all of your this, and they'll just go through everything and they'll just hose you. That's why if you like, say, "Oh, can you take a picture of me?" and you give your unlocked phone to someone, or if you're in a club, a lot of people, a lot of like pickup artists will say like, "Oh, let me put my number into your phone,"
Yeah.
and then they'll put it behind their back, and then the other Joe Spammer will take it. "Oh, well, I must have dropped it. Where'd it go?" And next thing you know, 45 seconds, you're completely compromised if you didn't turn on that enhanced account protection, which you should turn on. Then it makes it a little bit harder for them to do that. So,
Woo.
yeah, an unlocked iPhone is a very dangerous thing if it falls into the hands of someone.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all across the world, Matt Haas has given real world information here that as you go out to the clubs, cover your drink, make sure nobody slips something in your drink, and hold on to your phone. We over here trying to bring value to you, just to make sure that you stay safe. That's really good, and appreciate the analogy as well. I wanted to bring up a couple of other things here, just from the comments perspective, and then we'll go further down that list. But I like what Florence said, right? Set your recovery phone number to a different phone number that is not your mobile phone. And
Yeah.
that, talk a little bit about that and your thoughts on that, because I,
Well,
probably like a lot of other folks, don't no longer have a landline anymore. So
this
I only have
th- th-
one phone. Well, I've got
this
three
is
phones,
what
but
Hollywood stars and high profile
well,
people and
well,
high earners do
I'm
when
getting
they
there.
have an account. They will go to the store and they'll buy a burner phone, and then they'll use that burner phone number, or it could just be, another mobile phone, doesn't have to be a burner, and they'll use that to authenticate all of their accounts, and they will never use the phone for any purpose other than authenticating, with the 6-digit codes that get sent, and they'll never tell anyone what that phone number is. Only they'll put it into their platforms as your authenticator account. So if you really want to be solid, if this, if this is that much to you, buy a separate cell phone. Never tell anyone what that number is, and only use that cell phone for authenticating into accounts.
All right. when we started saying that, it's like I looked over here because that's where I got my other phones, and I was just using them as extra cameras. But shouts out to Tall Boy because I think I'm gonna use that Google Pixel now as this other authentication phone that I have. Me the Apple guy. I think I'm okay.
If it has a phone number you haven't disclosed to anyone, that would be perfect
Yes,
to have as your main phone number on
man.
all of these accounts so you can authenticate through it. Then,
I'm over here
you
learning
know,
too, ladies and gentlemen.
because a spammer can figure out what James Hicks's mobile phone is that he uses publicly,
Oh yeah,
but a spammer can't figure out what that secret phone number is that you've never told anyone about. That'd be very difficult to find out.
I don't even know what the phone number is. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
see.
So,
Man, if y'all getting
yeah,
value out of this, hit the likes and make sure you tell someone to come join us. We're gonna be here for a little bit longer, but I'm already got some action items
but,
from
you know,
Matt.
wa
That's good.
we've kinda moved into, like, locking down your personal financial life and moved way far away from just creators, locking down
But
their stuff. I have a lot more to talk about
no,
some of the easy stuff.
yeah, I think it matters though, and good point, good perspective. I think it matters though for everyone, right? So again, regardless of profession, regardless of who you are, it's still doing those key basic types of things I think matter for everyone.
Yeah,
So back in before you go down that list, because I wanna let that marinate a little bit because I know you got a lot of stuff there, but I want to feed it to folks very very slowly. Now let's focus on social accounts, right? Because we talked
okay,
about financial stuff, but locking down social accounts. You started going into a little bit about Facebook. We started talking a little bit about YouTube. Your thoughts on how creators, digital folks should actually lock down those properties as well, those platforms. Because again, creators are largely focused on one or two platforms, the ones that they are building their communities around. Either it be a
yeah.
YouTube, either it be a school, either it be a Mighty Networks, or whatever the case may be. And having a password of password 103 or pass or something of that doesn't cut the mustard. Your thoughts on doing those kind of things? Because I'm sure you've got your accounts locked down pretty well.
Wow. The most secure password is the word password because no one would think it would be that easy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That was the password. Did you know that was the password for the guys who broke into the Louvre? For
The
the
Louvre password was Louvre.
yeah, the password for the Louvre security cameras was Louvre. Come on now, come on now. We I got nothing else to say, brother. I got nothing else to say. Keep going, brother. I got
Yeah,
nothing else
yeah,
for you.
crazy. As far as the platforms go, other social medias, yeah, definitely do the 2FA,
Yeah.
and uh, long, strong passwords, passwords that you don't reuse, are good. Um, there's never give anyone your account.
Yes.
There's ways to do that. Like, "Oh, I want someone to, be my host for my YouTube account. Here's my Google account log." No. No, 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 no. You you can go into YouTube and you can grant other email addresses privileges to your
Yes.
account, and that's how so there's the right way to do it, and there's the wrong way to do it. As a matter of fact, a Google account is probably one of the most precious things you
Mm.
have digitally. Not the most, but probably top 5, because if you're like me, my whole life is on there. I have the whole Google Docs suite with the docs and sheets and presentations. I have all the email communications on there. It's just huge. I even have the setting where if there is no interaction from me for 2 months, an email goes to a family member, and if they follow that email, they can have full access to my Google
Oh
account.
wow. Okay.
It's a dead man switch that Google has a dead man I know it's a disturbing term, but it's a legitimate
Yeah.
security term, meaning if there is no action, then something triggers. So if I fall off the face of the earth and don't interact with my Google account for I think it's 2 or maybe 3 months, then an email goes to my designated family member. who I've talked about this, and and then they would have access to all my Google Photos, all my email, all my everything.
Okay.
Um, but
Couple of
that's more
platforms
like
have legacy access. I think Meta's try
some do.
to be PC with the wording. I think they call it legacy accounts and things things of that nature. Send me the link to that because I'd be interested in sharing that as well, kind of in the description for folks. And I'd be curious to know if you can change that interval, right? Instead of 2 months, I don't know.
Oh,
Say
that's a good question.
Matt Haas is a jet setter, ladies and gentlemen. He's probably traveling or something. Maybe he's going on a European vacation for 3 months, and
Yeah.
just in case he
Well,
doesn't access his accounts.
I even gave I printed out hard copies of all of my accounts and passwords and gave it to a family member who put it in their safe.
Yeah.
And then, should anything happen, it's offsite and with a trusted family member, so they could access the bank records and all my investments and the worldwide empire that is the Wizard of Haas. They'll have the keys to the kingdom. But um, yeah. Oh,
Insurance
and
again,
then
folks. Good stuff.
Florence also mentioned fill out the alternate ways to interact with your social media. So you can have an email address and a phone number, and you can have other, you can tell Facebook and YouTube all on your profile. You can build that out, because if anything would happen, then you can go down those lists and prove who you are. My shopping cart software, for example, and this was my bad, but I let an email account expire because the domain I didn't want anymore. Okay, so I lost access to the email that I signed up for my shopping
Mm,
cart service
okay.
for, and I was locked out. And then, of course, when you go to them, just as I said in the beginning, they think I'm the spammer. Oh, ha. Well, we're going to send you the unlock email. Oh, no, I don't have longer have that email. Oh, well, thank God I had filled out my profile and I said, this is my Instagram, this is my
Yeah.
Facebook. And what they had me do was they had me post certain phrases on those public platforms. And then they saw that that was public. And then they could reasonably presume that I am who I say I am, because if anyway, um, and I think Florence had mentioned that earlier. So
Okay.
yeah, don't. So if you sign up for an account with an email, don't just leave it at that. Give them your cell phone, give them the this, give them the that, and it could just be more ways for you to prove who you are if disaster happens. So
Yeah.
those are the things you need to do on other social media accounts,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Well, and a lot of times you hate giving all that information, but there's method to the madness because I had a similar situation with Bluehost where I closed an email account that I used to actually house a few domains. But when you sign up for the account, it asks you for like your mother's maiden name, where you were born, where you and your spouse met, those kind of things. And I was able to go down that litany of about
Yeah.
5 questions, and they were again able to assume that yes, it was me because I answered all these questions correctly. My
Yeah.
first car, my VW
When
Scirocco.
I put those in, I lie, and then I keep track of when I record
You
my
keep track of your
password.
lies?
I keep track of the lies. So if someone goes on ancestry.com and figures out my mother's maiden name, it's
Hmm.
not going to work. So I do that. I'm a
See,
freak. I
I thought I
even
was anal.
put in the
You're
fake
worse than I
birthday
am.
everywhere, because I don't want people taken my birthday, because that's, if they have your birthday and your social and two or three other bits, then they're you.
Yeah,
So a birthday
yeah,
is actually kind of sensitive. So I lie about my birthday all the time, which then gets me into trouble because I have to prove who I am there. Well, when were you born? I'm like, oh, which fake birthday did I give? But
you sir will never get global entry. I'm surprised if you got TSA pre. All right, because which lie are you saying when you go to the airport? But okay, we're not going to judge here. We're just here answering questions and keep responding to the poll. Keep bringing up your comments as well. Florence says that she uh, does the same thing. She doesn't give the actual information. She tracks it just like you, Matt. I want to
Good,
ask you
good.
one thing before we go on to some other ones, though,
Okay.
because we started talking about passwords and password managers.
And
Do
backup.
you use something like a one password or something like a LastPass to manage all of those large encrypted passwords, or you just have them not written down, but you just have them in your head somewhere?
I'm hiding.
Did,
No,
did I catch him on something there? He probably doesn't have them.
no,
You got them
I
all written
don't
down.
use I don't use those. I should.
Yeah.
I advocate for them. I don't.
We're not here to judge. I'm
I
not
don't.
Rich
But
Vise, who is here, may be judging, but
I
I
have
am not
another
here to
method.
judge. Okay.
I have another method,
Yeah.
which is not as good. Which is not as good, but I have another method.
All right. But you advocate for a password manager tool.
I
And
do.
Florence mentioned again for us Apple folks, there's passkeys on the iOS system. I'm sure Google has something on the Android side has something as well. So it really doesn't cost you anything from a financial perspective to set up this additional layer of security. So we want you to do that. And regardless of the solution that you use, we're not judging you, Matt.
Yeah.
But this is live and this is going to be put all over the internet. Okay.
I don't use the password managers. I have a complicated other system to help me do that. Oh, what's happened back there? My TV's getting wonky. Pay no
Yeah.
attention to the TV.
Well, was that YouTube TV you got there? I just switched.
I have Oh, there it goes. Okay, that's
Okay.
fun. It's a Roku gallery that plugs
Roku's
into
good.
Google
Roku's
Photos.
good. Okay. And the reason I
It
say
it
I switched from YouTube TV because they are in contract negotiations with ABC, ESPN, Disney, and all that. So I can't watch my ESPN. So I had to move. I didn't have to, but I moved to Hulu. All right, squirrel moment. But just saying, just because your TV went off.
I'm all in on Roku because they're not tied to one platform.
Roku TV
They
right
allow
here
it all.
too. That's right.
I won't buy a TV unless it has Roku in it. I'm like, get out. Oh, Amazon Fire. I'm like, nope.
He
Oh,
won't
some
buy
other
it.
thing. Nope. If it's not built in with Roku, it's to the curb.
He won't even
Anyway,
buy it. All right. So
we talking about backup.
we're talking about backup. We're talking about recovery. We're talking about password management. Folks, put your questions in the comments area, please, so we can engage with you. I want to ask another question before we move on to some more of the other stuff that you've got written down, because I want to talk about cloud platforms.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Got a
Talk
lot to say.
about all of the goodness, the OneDrives of the world, the Dropboxes, the iCloud, Google Drive, and local storage, network attached
Yep.
storage as well. What do you
Mhm.
particularly use? What do you particularly advocate for folks that have a lot of content, that have a lot of data that they need to have stored?
Well, I use Google Drive and Apple Files, Apple whatever Apple's is. Um, Works good. Now I also have Dropbox, and I don't speak of OneDrive because that's a Microsoft product, and I refuse to deal with any Microsoft product at
Amen,
all.
brother.
Um,
I had to say it though,
now,
just to so that I'm not unbiased, but amen, brother.
n- now you have to be careful because Dropbox and all of these things have a sync function
Yeah.
to them,
Hmm.
and sync is not necessarily a backup because if you remove it from Dropbox, it removes it from everywhere. It's so people think, oh, OneDrive or Dropbox, that's my backup. Mm, you got to be careful with that
Yeah.
because yes, it technically is on your computer and in the cloud at the same time. But when one goes away, the other one goes away too. So
Mm.
it's not necessarily, it's good to have, and it makes yourself convenient because all of my Apple devices have the same Dropbox, which is a very convenient way to work. Um, and I love it. And as far as the computer's concerned, it thinks it's local. because it is local, but it's really not local. It's a
The
weird
user,
nebulous concept
right?
to get your head around.
It's invisible to the user, and that's the
Yeah,
mentality of Apple anyway, right?
yeah,
Again, so
yeah.
exactly what you're saying.
But
It's just
a
anytime access to all of your data from anywhere.
a real backup is you have a copy of it somewhere else that's independent of your other original. That is, and by the way, if you have your original and then a copy of it, that's not a backup. That's a copy of the original. To have a backup, you have to have multiple.
Make it
And
plain,
that's where you
brother.
should do the 3-2-1 method.
Oh,
3 versions, 2 different locations, and what is it? I wrote it down. 3-2-1. 3 copies, 2 media types, 1 offsite. 3 versions, 2 media types, and then 1 offsite. That is a real backup. So, oh, and then this is not a backup. Though some people think this is a backup. So you have your original and you copy your original onto an external drive and then you delete the original. Oh, I have a backup. No, you don't. You
mm,
have 1 copy. That's not a backup. It's a single so 1 is just a single version of it. 2 is just a copy. 3, now you got yourself a backup.
love
That's the
that.
way I roll.
That's good. So
And
I'm
where do you
okay.
put it?
Yeah. So hold on before you go there. I'll even put myself out a little bit on Front Street, but I'm going to say, no, look, we got some royalty in the building. Daniel's in the building, so, and he knows these things as
Oh,
well. He came in off of
hi,
your
Daniel.
channel. He didn't come in off of my channel, but that's okay. Um,
Oh, I see, I see.
maybe I should have gone to Creator Camp this year just to. No, no, it's all good. I appreciate you for being here, brother. I have a mixture. I don't know what the word is. I have yeah, I'll just say a mixture of some of those solutions. I do agree with everything you said, and I do, again, very, very anal just in terms of keeping multiple copies in different location on different platforms as well. So I'll leverage Apple. I'll leverage Google as well. I'll have local copies that I do periodically. Actually, every quarter I actually have a ticker in my calendar to initiate it manually. I don't even do it automatically. I love to initiate it manually so I can maybe choose the folders, the file types, and things of that I'll push to those different locations. But I noticed you didn't talk about having the backup is a great thing, but you didn't talk about the retrieval. You didn't talk about recovery and the testing of the backup. So I will actually go through an operation to where I will initiate a recovery to verify that the data stored in another location is actually accurate, and then it matches that last known good. Again, I'm sorry, I'm using Microsoft terms. I'm not a Microsoft guy, and I'm sorry for that. But that just makes sense, right? Again, having remote copies and then initiating a simulated failure and pulling that data back and verifying that it matches what it should be. That's the piece that I think people forget. They'll do the it's not file vault, but they'll do the action of the automation of moving data from one location to the other, but they
Sure.
don't test and verify that it's actually there in the state that it's supposed to be. And that's the conversation that I want folks to do. Actually verify that your data is where it's supposed to be. Don't completely rely on these cloud providers. Yes, they should be up and you're paying for them to be up. But again, Matt and I are in enterprise IT, and we have seen Amazon go down, AWS go down frequently. So you on the consumer side, you other folks on the consumer side, when your Target.com or your Amazon or whatever website that you go to from a consumer shopping perspective, if you can't access that site, 7 out of 10 times it's because there's an outage to AWS, which is where a lot of these uh, entities house their data. So they're not always up all the time. So have redundancy, verify the backups with the recovery. All right. Soapbox is done.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
so when it comes to backup, I like things that are real files somewhere. Some backup solutions kind of put all the assets in this big blob file, and then you have to use their UI to suck it out. And this is a lot of like applications that you have. Those I don't like. They're better than nothing,
Yeah.
but they're more risk because if something gets corrupted with that huge thing that looks like 1 2 terabyte file on a drive somewhere, but it's really a bunch of invisible stuff inside of a folder. And I don't know, that can get wonky. So I like things like Amazon S3 or Dream Objects from my web host, DreamHost, which is their S3 um, equivalent. S3 stands for Simple Syndication, something or other.
You
It's
knew I was going to have
Amazon's.
you do that, right?
Yeah,
I was going to
yeah.
have you actually break it down so folks do, because again, we talked
Seriously
that.
Simple Syndication, I think is what it is,
Yes.
S3,
Yes.
Seriously Simple basically, it's 3 nines redundant because they take your file and they stripe it across many different things. It was Amazon's first AWS product was S3. It was the first thing that they rolled out. And it's basically you put something there, it's there forever. That's kind of what they guarantee it to be. And yes, sometimes Amazon goes down, you'll lose access to it, but it will come back.
You don't
You know,
lose the data on it. But talk about, so again, let's not make an assumption, because S3 is actually also a premium service that you pay for. So you have to give them your credit card number. It's not something that's
well,
just
all of these
there.
solutions you got to
Oh,
pay
well,
for.
again, so we don't want to make assumptions, though. We want folks to know, and just in
Okay.
case
Now,
they go off.
all of this is you got to lay out cash, folks. You got to lay out cold hard cash. And for services, you have to pay monthly, and for a
Yeah,
NAS, you only have to pay once because you have the hardware. But then you have to maintain the hardware and, swap things out. So there are some ongoing costs with the NAS systems. Uh, so I like the geeky Amazon S3 because it's cheap and it's stable and it's offsite. I do like that. And then I do I have photo services. You can buy photo services that dump all of your photos. And I have 130,000 photos from
wow.
2001 to 2013. And then everything else is on Apple's photos and stuff like that. I have probably 200,000 photo assets that I have, and
Wait a minute.
95% of them is the smiling face of my son, Evan.
All right.
The boy is
Well,
the
that's good.
most photographed human on the planet.
No, you don't want to lose those. Okay, so let's now. I want to get a little bit into your business. So you've got all of those on iCloud. You said all those photos.
No, only in the last decade. Before that, I have them on Flickr, which has been
Oh my
sold and shut
goodness! Shouts out
down.
to Flickr. Is Flickr still
I
around?
know.
Wow.
It's hard to get them off. You can't
Mm,
export from Flickr in
you
a,
just
a
dated
convenient
yourself.
way.
Yeah.
It really sucks. But
I recommend, and we could talk again. Here's a squirrel moment, but Flickr is dope. Yeah, it was. I didn't know it was still going, but the big brother Flickr is SmugMug. Um,
I love SmugMug. I should have
but
went to SmugMug.
aren't you an Adobe guy?
Yeah, I love Adobe.
Adobe Portfolio. If you have a
Yeah.
Creative Cloud membership, you could just use Adobe Portfolio, which integrates directly with Lightroom. Folks, we dropping
Here's the
gems here.
thing. Here's the thing, though. My corporate office gives me the full Creative Cloud
Oh,
license,
pardon
and
me.
my personal
Mm,
Creative Cloud license is just Adobe Express.
oh,
So I pay 13 bucks a month just for Adobe Express out of my personal account, and then the company gives me that. I don't know if I want to spend 80 bucks a month
no.
personally
Well,
for
I
Adobe.
won't tell you what I'm paying, because I'm grandfathered into some things. But shouts out to the Adobe partnership, and I'm just gonna leave it at that. But that's an
I
option.
went to the Adobe offices in San Francisco.
Yeah,
I was invited there
I've been
to
there.
work.
Is that right? Been there.
It's nice.
I've sold back in previous life. I sold a lot of infrastructure, a lot of into that data center. So again, another squirrel moment, but
Yeah.
that's what it is that we do.
I love me some Adobe. Not the best business practices over the last 5 years, but I do love Adobe. It
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
In my business, it has to work, has to be reliable, and it has to be widely adopted. And
yeah.
Adobe fits that mold. despite some of their untoward business practices
Yeah.
that some people legitimately have issues with.
That's an interesting. Okay, so I want to go back down that list that you have, but that's an interesting statement that you just said right there because I think this is relevant for creators as well. A lot of times we will talk about um, lifetime deals. We will talk about early SaaS organizations. We will talk about paying once and never paying again because we've got a great deal and their companies aren't 100% vetted. No knock on some of those companies, those early stage companies, but somebody who's been around for a while, somebody who's vetted, someone who has a little bit long in the tooth, who has some
Dude.
infrastructure, who has some structure, who's actually a profitable company. Gina Bianchini, who is the CEO from Mighty Network, says this all the time. She says, people pay attention to what you pay for. And I've stolen that. Um, but I think that matters as well. And that's right in line with what you just said. Do you agree with me kind of when I say that as well?
Oh, we could have this be a whole content
Come on now.
topic for a future show because I am very rigid on what platforms I leverage. And a lot of what we just said in the last 3 minutes is one of the primary reasons why I am so rigid. It's actually to the point where it's militant. Like I will not cross the line. Like I I'm a look, I'm a productive individual. I crank through content. I crank out content. And I cannot have a hiccup. I need reliable software that is widely adopted in the market. Why? Because you can get support. If you can get support from the community and you can get support from the company because to be widely adopted, you have to have a company of the stature that has support. So I that's what I favor. And that's why I lean on Apple hardware
Mm,
because it's predictable. That's why I lean on Google software and business apps because they're widely adopted, big, stable company, and they're reliable. And that's why I rely on Adobe because it's widely adopted, it's good software, and it's reliable. So, yeah,
good
and
stuff.
that's why I will not touch Microsoft with a 10-foot pole because they don't meet the criteria. I'm
I'm not
sorry.
going to pick at that wound, and we're not going to talk about it. But I tell you what, I want you to get that remainder of that list ready. I want to look at the comments
Oh,
here that are coming in. But our other co-host has joined, and I want to position the first question to him right now. So I'm about to bring you on screen, sir. Do you use, and the question is, do you use any platforms or tools for data security as it relates to your, it's a given question, as it relates to your business ventures as a creator? All right. So that is the question. Ladies and gentlemen, better late than never. Better late than never. Talk to us, Greg.
Hey,
Talk to.
hey, thank you, man. And I'm sorry, I was tired. I was sitting here. I was so focused,
God
and then I
dog
just
it.
the time got away from me. So I apologize. But yes, I do rely on iCloud for several reasons. It's one of the things where my things are backed up. My phone is backed up there, and the computer is backed up there. It's one of the places I have things backed up. Um, so I do rely on iCloud.
Okay. Okay. So let's do this. Now we're all here, like the family should be. You know, shouts out to Ecan being able to build scenes on the fly here as well. Now, since you missed most of the other conversation, and I will say this, Greg, I'm not gonna put all your business out there, but hey, happy anniversary, brother. I'll just say it there. Congrats, happy
Thank you.
anniversary to
Thank
you, man.
you.
Um, moving forward, we talked about password managers. We talked about having two-factor authentication. We talked about cell phone security, which is incredibly huge, and I'm glad you brought that up. Matt, what's next on the list that you, again, from a creative perspective, from an entrepreneur perspective, as it relates to data security, things that we have to be doing that folks probably aren't doing today?
Well, you you talked about what types of threats are the most common,
Mm,
um, and my to answer your question, you just have to be vigilant because it's not about the systems or the tech, it's about the people. The attack vector is people because a system is never ironclad because people can F up. So you have to be careful what you disclose and not give away the keys to the kingdom. And it can happen very easily. And
mm,
these attacks, these phishing attacks, even spear phishing attacks. Have you heard that term? That's a new one. Um, they are getting very sophisticated, no longer broken English, emails that look legit, websites that look legit. You know, it's very, very difficult. So I would answer the question with just don't disclose sensitive information,
yeah.
even under dire circumstances that seem very urgent. As a matter of fact, that's the red flag that it's probably not in your best interest.
Greg, your
I
thoughts
think
on that?
we're
Because you probably
I
use
think
some
we're in
tools
it.
as well. I'm
I
sorry, go
think
ahead.
we're I think we're in a unique time because most things right now, for you to get access to your online accounts and such, rely on you to have a mobile device, right?
Mm,
You log into this, it's going to send a code to your mobile device. And I have a friend of mine who was traveling to another country where he got in a situation and they took the phone and they robbed him. And for him to try to get things going, right? Everything had to go through his phone, which he didn't have anymore. And so he went to the store and he was like, "Hey, I don't have my ID. I got robbed. I don't have a phone." And it was a very stressful situation. And and this is not really the point, but it's like how many things do we not know we rely on to get access because they keep sending these codes to our phone? And what happens if something happens to that phone and you can't get access to it? Now you can't get into your email. And when you talk about like real people and hackers and stuff, and they took his devices knowing that he would try to get access at some point. And when they sent the codes, they would delete it from his email. So when he finally got access to his email and he tried to get into his other accounts before he could get the code, they would delete it. So you know a lot of times we think about one way of thinking about security, like, hey, we're going to try to do this, to help you. But they usually don't think around all the aspects of it and how it could harm you if not, if it's not right. And so that was an extreme case. But just the other week I was complaining about, hey, this this two pass thing was set in the browser, and if I didn't have that same browser, then I couldn't get into my Amazon account. So it's like security is set up in a way where they're trying to be helpful, but a lot of times people don't think it all the way through about all the things that could happen and is it really helpful. There's some things out there that I think that is surprisingly dangerous for people that don't realize what's really going on.
mm.
Yeah.
Matt, your thoughts?
Well, agreed. Agreed. Cell phone, physically guarding your cell phone and digitally taking steps to make it harder to hack should be your number one priority. Number one.
Yeah, it's challenging, and we're working our way through it. We're dealing with the stuff as we learn. Um, so I think it's just interesting when things happen that people, when you hear these stories of people, and how technology is affected. Like, this person got robbed, and that's bad enough, but now they can't get access to their bank accounts and stuff because the people who robbed him are making sure he can't get access to his stuff because they are getting access to it. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a major major attack vector.
Yeah.
Let me ask this, kind of back to square one, or to the topic and subject matter here, as it again relates to solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, and creators. I keep wrapping the conversation around that. What do you think is the biggest data security concern for us, or those folks, right? Do you think it's the phishing scams? Do you think it's account
Phishing scams.
takeovers, ransomware impersonations, or something else? What do you guys
Well,
think
phishing
is
scams can lead to account takeovers, so
mm, mm,
I kinda link them together. Ransomware, that's probably the least worrisome. A lot of that happens through Windows systems. It's pretty hard to get ransomware running
Greg over there, the
on
only Windows guy in the building? I'm sorry, look at him. We gonna get you off of Windows. What you want, an
It's
NT,
true.
brother? You know.
Well, if you were a hacker, 10% of the machines out there are Macs. Why wouldn't you want to hack 90% of the world? You would just go to Windows to do your evil deeds. It's a numbers thing. Um, so yeah, although, I did have a company that I dealt with, have they needed to put the cryptocurrency in the scammer's account, and then they got the code and it unlocked all of their
Mm.
stuff that it ransomwared away. And you had impersonation attacks. That's probably minor on the list of it's a big deal if it happens, but hopefully your audience can be your biggest champion if someone pretends to be you on another
Wow.
account. I think that's what you're talking about. So if someone rolls
Exactly.
up a
Yeah.
Matt Haas account of their own and just pretends to be me, like that seems like has that really happened often nowadays? It seems like that's not really a
I
big.
wouldn't say often, but it happens. I had a friend of mine from high school that I played football with, and then his account got hacked, and I started getting messages from what I thought was him, but it was weird. He was talking to me weird, and it was kind of like, yo,
This ain't you.
I started asking him questions like only he would know, like, asked him certain questions, and they couldn't answer it. I was like, okay, let me go report this account because it's obviously not him.
This is where having a large audience is to your benefit because your audience can be your biggest, I don't know
Yeah.
how police. They could police that. They can
Yep. Yep.
they can call it out. Now, not everyone has a large audience, and then it could kind of wreck them if someone tried to pretend to be someone else and did some awful things and stuff like that. Um, so,
Well, it's
uh,
about having your tribe. Um, I'm not
yeah,
going to use any. I'm not going to use any Pat Flynn's registered trademark terms, but or but having those folks in your inner circle, your moderators, the folks who know as you go live, and things of that nature, that it is you, and can vouch for you, and can watch for the trolls, or who can watch for any abnormal activity. And so again, it's not just the hard and fast financial lockdown. It's again making sure that identity is in place, and when you're not there, you've got other folks watching. That's what the community is all about. So awesome, I love it. Uh, the one and only Matt Haas. Look, you got stars, you got fans coming in all over the place. I'm just here to do the Wizard of Oz thing behind the scenes, man. What's up with that? I love it.
for the identity protection, another thing you could do right now as a content creator is to have an about page or some
Mm,
page that lists all of your official um, uh, social
Accounts.
media. That way, if Joe User, I started sitting lower so I could align myself with you guys. Now I have way too much headroom. But yeah, have that about page, or what do you call it? The links. The James Hicks,
I
he's the
got you
man.
covered, brother. I got you. I'll produce. You just bring the content. I will produce. And you think you were
Yeah.
talking about like a link in bio or something?
Yeah, yeah, so something like that, and that can help. Then you can say to your audience, "Hey, if it's not from Facebook.com/Matt Haas, if it's Facebook.com/Matt Haas 1234, that ain't me." It's easier to kind of uh, get out of that situation if you took that before step of just cataloging all of your social medias. I recommend people do that.
Love it. Love it. All right. Greg, I will give you the benefit of the doubt because it was a special day for you yesterday, and you said the right word. You said you were focused. So you know how that matters, and that should be a perfect cue for Matt to bring up the mug, but he didn't do it. But
Well, I didn't want to take any fame away from Greg. So
no, well, we're sharing the
focus,
wealth.
baby.
So
I'm
so I
focused.
stay focused on you. As we wrap, as we bring this plane in, because I want to be cognizant of folks. He's probably, I don't know what he's drinking. I don't know if it's coffee. That may be a little
I'm
cognac.
drinking espresso, baby,
That
from
may be a little.
whole bean of Starbucks holiday
Mm-hmm.
blend.
Maybe a little Hennessy right there. You never know what's going on in the Wizard of Haas adobe. Um,
Cardiologist said no alcohol, so
Talk it again. Can't do it.
sucks to
Can't.
be me.
I know. I hear you, brother. You come from a different world. I mean, you come from a similar world, but kind of a wider net. I will say that, Greg. So as we bring this in, just your best practices as it relates to data security for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs. Matt and I already talked about it from a content creator perspective. We talked about, like I said, two-factor authentication, locking down cell phones, talked about having legacy accounts as well. So should you not be, which was a really good one that Matt brought up about if you're not on your Google environment for X number of days, X number of months, then it sends, he actually specifies folks that it sends out information to make sure, hey, is Matt okay, that kind of thing. But what do you, give us two or three things that you can leave with the community that you use and you recommend as a best practice as it relates to data security?
Thank you, and I'll let you know what I was really wanted to talk about this evening was about backing up and backing up your data. If you if you have a mobile device and you're taking photos and videos, we have our business stuff and our client stuff, but we also have our personal stuff. You have wedding photos and important events photos and videos and things like that. And so backing up is something that most people get wrong. And the reason why is because when they back up and they look at services that say they back up, a lot of times they will back it up, right? But what they don't do is keep it in sync. So if you have a file, we'll just use this pen as a file. If you have this file on your computer, and then you back it up over here, and then you create another file on your computer and you back it up over here, right? But you delete the orange one from your first computer, it's still on the backup. And so if something happens, and most times people just will keep backing up and backing up and backing up, they may have all of those files that they don't really want on that backup. And then when something happens and they need to restore, they get all the stuff that they thought they would have deleted that they wanted backed up at some point, but then they wanted to get rid of it. So a lot of times people think backup, but what they really want is a sync. And so that the files that you have that you delete are actually also deleted from the backup so you don't have them. And so when it comes to doing that, you have to think about how these backup software systems and things work. So if you're using things like these online services like Backblaze, for example, they just back up the files and they don't keep things in sync. So if you want to keep things in sync, you need a different type of backup system that will actually keep it in sync. And so I know what one other thing is that when you do backup, you got to think about, do you just want the files or do you want the whole computer operating system and everything? And for most of us to make it easy, we can get the whole operating system and everything. And we can also find things to keep that in sync. So I will share a couple with you, and there's a keyword that you should remember. The keyword when it comes to backing up that you should remember is image. You want a image snapshot of your computer. When it takes a photo image snapshot, it captures everything, operating system and everything, and you can restore your whole operating system onto a new computer. So one of the ones that work for Mac is a company called Shirt Pocket, and the program is called Super Duper. Right, it's a backup for Mac called Super Duper, and it's from a company called Shirt Pocket. And then there is ones for the PC. It's been a while, but I believe it was called Ghost. Um, I'm just going to do image backup PC.
Looking at that, I do. Okay, I do remember Ghost. And I was looking at Matt to see if he was just smiling from in the back there as you were talking about syncing, and then because we had that discussion, and he went down the rabbit hole in a good way about that. And so I'm comparing and contrasting what you guys are talking about, and I love it. So I do remember Ghost. I don't know if it's still around though.
Yeah. So yeah, you just get one that's an image backup, and so that when you have to have a major thing, you don't have to then try to install all these programs, because a lot of times over a year or two or three, you might not realize how many things you actually installed.
Hmm.
If you just get the files, it's going to take you several hours of trying to match stuff up. So that has saved me so much time by doing that instead of just backing up files. So I'm glad you guys went down that rabbit hole. And I hope you guys don't mind me repeating, because I hope people get it. It's important. And until you have to struggle with that
Mm.
computer and spend hours and hours and hours, you don't know the pain that me and
Tell the truth.
Matt know to
Tell the
do it.
truth.
So listen to us. This is important. And even worse, if you lose everything, you lose photos and client files, man, it's the worst. And I've been on both sides of it. So that's why I recommend people really consider having things backed up in multiple places, and save yourself some time and do image backups instead of just files.
God, hey, man, Matt's smiling like a proud uncle over there, ladies and gentlemen. I see him over there. Um, Shirley, yes, this was a great conversation. You missed it, but that's all right. Right, hit that replay because we dropped some gem. Matt, listen, Matt was coming in hot, and then Greg came in and kind of layered on top of that with all of that smoothness as well. Again, I'm just here pulling the strings behind the scenes, boy. But these co-hosts right here, this is Technologist Forum, y'all. This is Greg Russell and Matt Haas. This is what we do on is this the second week? I think it's the second week of the month. See that right there? I got to bring my stuff. They're far out of reach. Like my other phone and my Matt Haas wood cutouts. They're too far to reach. I need to bring them over here. Um, I'm gonna bring it in. This is what we do, and I implore folks to one watch the replay if they have come on late, and we're definitely going to share this out. We're going to chop this up so folks can get some context as well. But these are experts who know what they're talking about, have been around, who have unfortunately lost data, who have fortunately recovered data. So we know about this conversation that we're talking about. And as I said at the beginning, it's an unsexy conversation, but it's one that has to happen. And it needs to be done from personal, professional perspective. So again, it's not just the creators, even though we leaned into creators, but even from old entrepreneurs and solopreneurs as well. So uh, in closing, let me go with you first, Greg. You got anything else you want to say in closing? And then Matt, I'll let you take us home.
I saw one of the questions in the comments. Someone asked, "Does Super Duper work for iPhones?" And the
Mm,
answer is no. It is the computer. However, if you use the iCloud to back up to the iCloud, you that's where you get your iPhone backed up there as well. So hopefully that helps. And then
super
Matt, let
duper.
us know what you got, bro.
God, super duper.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate, you are the biggest attack vector. Don't disclose information. Call people directly or go to the websites directly.
Mm,
Don't be clicking stuff people send you. Um, be smart about what you disclose. Um, if you get one of those things where, oh, I'm on Facebook Marketplace, I'm going to send you a code so you can prove who you are. And the code you get says, do not share this code with anyone. You know, don't be sharing that code.
yeah.
There's Just be smart, be smart. And,
Common sense goes a long way.
have the time machine there too. That's more like a sync rather than a backup, but time machine is easy and it's easy to get stuff out of. Mostly for if you, oops, I just deleted that. I need it
Yeah.
immediately. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily for digging back too far, but Time Machine is a good piece of software. It has its place. It's not the end all be all. I'm pro Time Machine. Didn't talk too
Pro.
much about that during the show.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It's time machine. I called it file vault is the encryption on the Mac
Yeah,
side. But okay, that's right. Time machine.
Time Machine is a pretty handy thing. It just sits there until you need it, and then thank God you have it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I think
By
And it
about it.
large
works
enough
in
capacity
sync
though.
with Super Duper.
Super duper.
Super Duper is a much better software, but Time Machine, it comes pre-installed, you know, it's,
Yep.
better than nothing.
That's dope.
Better
Better
than
than
nothing.
nothing.
Have that at minimum two-factor authentication on everything, everywhere, backup recovery,
Yeah.
and password managers. Hey, Greg.
And do the
Oh,
turn
hey,
on, for God's sakes, turn on the stolen device
yeah,
protection.
that's a good one.
Google stolen device protection if you have an Apple device, and crank that sucker on, or I will come and slap you.
Yeah, listen, hey, but listen to hey, Greg. Matt doesn't use a password manager. Huh?
Hey, he must not
Huh?
have that many accounts.
I
Au
threw you under the
contraire,
bus.
mon frère.
It's all in love, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, Technologist Forum. If you found value in this, let me know. If you did not find value in this, still let me know so we can continue to improve, so we continue to get better. See you next week for another episode. Y'all be good to yourself. We out.